Welcome to Models of Online Course Design. This presentation will discuss how to incorporate different strategies for teaching into an online course. By completing this module, you will be able to reflect on preconceived notions of what is or is not possible in an online course, and select models or strategies for teaching an online course. Every face-to-face course is different. Some courses rely on lectures to introduce new content, while others have a heavy reading requirement. Others may be considered writing intensive or discussion based. Students work independently in many courses, but others are highly collaborative. Some courses even include learning components outside of the classroom, like service work or internships, that allow students to learn from experience. Online courses can be diverse in the same way. You can use most of the techniques you currently use in your classroom to make your online course exciting and engaging. In this module, you will learn about several models of online instruction that you can adapt for your own courses. The models to be discussed are highly flexible, and numerous options are available for promoting active learning in your online courses. Before considering models of instruction, reflect for a moment on your current methods of face-to-face instruction. Most likely, your primary instructional activities fall within one of three categories: course content, learning activities and communication, or student assessment. And these activities generally take place either in class or out of class. In a typical face-to-face class, content is delivered in class through lectures and demonstrations, with students required to complete additional readings out of class. In class, students learn through faculty or student-led discussions, and also small group work. Out of class, students and faculty may communicate using email, an online discussion board, or even meet for office hours. In class, student assessment also takes place through quizzes, exams, and presentations. Out of class, students may be asked to complete homework, reflection journals, or even work on other projects. To what extent does this description of common approaches to face-to-face instruction represent your face-to-face teaching? There may be other activities and approaches not mentioned, but chances are that you can envision components of your instructional activities in the various fields of this face-to-face instruction matrix. Now, let's compare the face-to-face approaches mentioned previously with that of online instruction. Like face-to-face instruction, online instructional activities fall within the same three categories. Activities that generally would take place in class can be conducted in a similar fashion online using what are referred to as synchronous technologies and approaches. Synchronous approaches in online instruction involve students and faculty meeting together during a live online session and participating in learning activities together at the same time. Synchronous activities could consist of virtual lectures, demonstrations, discussions, virtual office hours, or even student-led presentations. Activities that generally would take place out of class, in which students are working more independently, can be conducted in a similar manner online using what are referred to as asynchronous technologies and approaches. Asynchronous approaches in online instruction involve students engaging in the learning activities and discussions with the faculty and class members on independent time schedules. In asynchronous methods, students can complete readings, view recorded lectures, complete tutorials or simulations, participate in online discussions, and complete various course assessments independent from others in the class. Asynchronous learning activities provide an additional amount of flexibility in the online learning environment and are a fantastic complement to synchronous activities, similarly to how in a face-to-face class, the activities out of class build upon the in-class activities. Comparing this online instruction matrix to the previous face-to-face instruction matrix, you hopefully can identify many similarities to the instructional approaches and methodologies available. Online instructional activities can involve many different types of active teaching approaches. Online teaching and learning can range from more faculty-centered to more student-centered activities and take place via a wide range of synchronous and asynchronous activities. Online delivery models are generally more student-centered, providing students with increased opportunities to take an active role in the learning process. In an online course, every student has the opportunity to have a voice through the asynchronous discussions and can choose to review recorded content, readings, tutorials, etc., again, to better grasp difficult concepts. Online courses can be primarily synchronous or asynchronous, or online courses can include a mix of both synchronous and asynchronous activities. We'll take a look through the rest of this presentation at some of the most common online course delivery models. But keep in mind that the models to be discussed are highly flexible and customizable. As we explore the options for delivering online courses, we'll do so within the following online course delivery framework. Online courses typically utilize one of two classic delivery models: asynchronous delivery model or synchronous delivery model. After selecting a delivery model, active learning strategies, such as case-based, problem-based, collaborative, or experiential learning, may be added to further engage students in the learning process. It's important to keep in mind that there is not one correct mode of delivery. Rather, decisions regarding delivery mode should take into account factors such as previous teaching experiences, course subject matter, types of learning activities that will best help students learn the material, schedule and available time of faculty to engage in activities each week, etc. Each of the common delivery models and active learning strategy options within this spectrum will be described through the rest of this presentation. The most common format for an online course is the asynchronous model. In fact, many people incorrectly assume that this is the only way online courses can be delivered. In this model, content would be presented by some sort of lecture, either a narrated tutorial, a screencast, or a video. To be more effective, these presentations should include text, visuals, and audio, as well as closed captions. The lecture would be accompanied by readings from a textbook or articles. Often, asynchronous courses build upon this with additional learning activities, such as having students answer questions about the content in a discussion forum. Then, each topic, module, or unit is concluded with some form of assessment, like a test, paper, reflection, or other assignment. In most cases, students are kept to the same timeline in an asynchronous course, so that all students are covering the same topics at the same time. However, it is possible for an asynchronous course to be self-paced as well, so that students can complete modules and assignments according to their own schedule. If your content relies on lively discussion, you may want to consider a synchronous model instead. In a synchronous course, each topic or module starts with a reading, presentation, or other activity, but the primary mode of content delivery is a synchronous virtual class session. Each topic or module is assessed in some way. Synchronous web conferencing tools, which you will learn about in a later module, allow you to present slides like you would in a live lecture. They also allow you to hold live discussions with audio, video, and text chat. Students can even make individual or group presentations, like they would in a face-to-face course. The primary drawback for synchronous online courses is that students need to log in at the same time to participate, which eliminates some of the convenience of an online course. It's best to have a schedule of the synchronous sessions available from the beginning of the semester, so that students can arrange their schedule. However, the sessions can also be archived for later review if some students cannot attend the live session. As we've seen, online courses can typically be described by one of two classic delivery models: asynchronous or synchronous, although it's possible for courses to use both. Beyond the basic delivery model, you can incorporate active learning strategies, such as case-based, problem-based, collaborative, or experiential learning, to further engage students in the learning process. Let's take a look now at each of these active learning strategies and consider how they may be utilized in conjunction with the delivery model selected. New technology makes it easier every day to incorporate a collaborative active learning strategy into an online course. There are at least two models of collaborative instruction in an online course. In one case, you can provide content and readings for everyone to review. Then, in groups, students can work to solve a problem or respond to a case study based on that information. They can create an artifact for their solution, like a virtual presentation, paper, or multimedia. Finally, the groups share their materials with the other groups by presenting in a virtual class session or by leading a discussion forum. In the second version, each group works to research a different topic, effectively becoming the class experts in that area. Then, the groups share their new knowledge with the rest through a wiki, discussion board, virtual presentation, or other means. These are only two ways that online courses can be collaborative. There are many other ways for students to work together in an online course. Experiential learning has become popular and can definitely be adapted to an online course. In some cases, an online course may accompany an official and structured experience, like an internship or clinical. In other cases, it may simply be an opportunity for students to do something in the real world, like an interview, observation, community service, or data gathering. In an online course incorporating an experiential active learning strategy, students engage in some real-world activity or experience. Then, it's important for students to reflect on the experience and how it relates to the course content. Students can also reflect on their learning process during the course, including how their behaviors or attitudes have changed as a result of the experience. Many experiential courses also provide opportunity for students to discuss their experiences and learn from each other. You may want to consider a case-based active learning strategy for your online course, particularly for higher-level courses. Case studies are particularly effective in courses that are meant to make students aware of current issues in their field. In a case-based course, you would provide content such as readings, recorded lectures, or virtual class sessions. You might present new information, or you may only need to review content they learned in a previous course. Then, have students apply that information to a sample scenario to solve a problem. Students can create their responses individually or in groups. Those responses can be submitted to you as a document, or they could be shared with the other students as a discussion forum post or a virtual presentation. A lot of rich learning can occur if you also provide an opportunity for students to discuss their responses with each other. As a final assessment, you could assign a more complex case. Problem-based courses can be some of the most difficult courses to design and manage, but they also provide rich learning opportunities for students and are highly engaging. A problem-based course flips the structure of a case-based course. Instead of providing content initially, you present the students with a problem to solve. Students could work individually, but it's generally more effective to create a complex problem that requires a team to solve. Then, you provide resources for students to conduct research to solve the problem. The students learn the content as they gather information, and they demonstrate that knowledge by creating a solution as a product, paper, dataset, or debate argument. The best problem-based courses include the opportunity for students to share their solutions and discuss the outcomes. In some cases, it may be possible to incorporate games into the course by having students compete to have the best solution. Of course, there's no reason to stick to only one of these models. When you are looking for a model for your course, consider the best way to approach each topic. Combine the models in a way that is best suited to your content and teaching style. You should also think about the needs of your students as well, particularly for topics that are difficult for students to grasp. These are not the only approaches you can use in an online course. In addition to the core instruction in the course, you can incorporate these and other techniques. For example, you may want to consider including guest speakers in your online course. The guest speaker could host a discussion forum or give a virtual presentation using a web conferencing tool. Guest speakers can bring a different perspective to your course and give students a sense of how the content relates to the real world. When using a guest speaker, you should think about whether you will record the speaker for use in later iterations of the course and request their permission to do so. Also, remember to have backup plans should a speaker not be available during another semester. Another alternative is mobile learning. In an online course, you can provide students with the convenience of using their mobile devices to access course materials by using mobile-friendly formats like PDF files, HTML5 compatible media, or videos. Most web conferencing tools have free apps that allow students to participate in live class sessions from their smartphone or tablet. While online students still need to use a computer for many aspects of a course, students will appreciate being able to use their mobile devices. This module only covers a small sample of the possibilities for models of online course delivery. It's important to remember that online courses are not limited to any particular method of teaching. Online courses can engage students in active learning. You will learn more about the technologies that support active learning throughout the Design Academy.